Hey guys, how you doing? I have now have the fans mounted on the rad, and I decided to use the SR1 360 for the CPU block, and then I'll use the SR1 480 for the two video cards later when I get them when I get those water-cooled cards. But I mounted them onto the radiator, and now I'm in the process of putting on my quick disconnects, and I have one on here right now. This is a male one that's going on. I'm going to put another male one on here, and one of the things I want to do is also add, this is a thermal sensor. So what I'll do is I'll put the thermal sensor on, which will be the output of the radiator, so I know what the temperatures are for the going into my CPU block. And then what I do is I put another one on the reservoir, the intake to the reservoir, so it'll have the temperature in the coming out of the CPU. So I'll see how hot it's getting, so when I'm benchmarking I can see how well the cooling's doing. And I'm going to have that connected to my Coolant's TMS 205 hardware and software controller, so it'll tell me. I'll be able to see those temps nicely. I also used to do it on my Kazi Master Pro. I would just have these leads run into the thermal point on there, and then dial in the particular channel, and I'd see the temps. But I'm going to try it with a software config. And as you can see, I have a female quick disconnect on the back of the pump and the reservoir, and this is the output, so that's going to go into this guy, and then coming out of the rad is going to go into the chipset, and out of the chipset into out of the CPU block into the reservoir here. So that's currently the config, and this bay is going to be hidden inside of the case, so you're not going to see these. I know they protrude out far, but it doesn't matter to me. You're not going to see them. And quick disconnects at all the points, so I can just disconnect the tubing. I'm going to be able to service it. And actually, you're going to see it here. I'm going to set it up on the bench and test the loop, bleed it. The one thing though, since I don't have the cases, I'll probably have to create new tube lines because I don't know exactly what the lengths are in the run in the case. But at least for now, I want to get it up and running and get things set up so that maybe all I'll need to do is just run some new tubes, and I will have to probably bleed it again a little bit, but so be it for now. So that's what we got right now, and I'm going to install this guy here. Alright. Okay, so here we have now the rad set up with the push coming through the General Typhoon AP15s out to the center of the chamber inside of the chassis. Then I have, this is the output of the here's the output of the reservoir right here, and that guy is going to go to the input, the in on the radiator. And the reason why I put it this way is because it'll help bleed the system, so when the coolant is coming in, it'll run through the reservoir and help bring the air up and rise out, so it'll help bleed it. I do have the temperature sensor set on here, so the temperature sensor will then tell me what the coolant temp is going into the CPU block. So this will go into the CPU block, get heated up, and then come out of the CPU block, and then come into the back into the reservoir, which I have another temperature sensor, so I can see what the how hot the coolant's getting from the CPU. So that's how it's going to go in. And here are the compression fittings for the tubing that goes into the res here. So I'll have to do that. I'll show you that next. And then these are the compression fittings with the quick disconnects that go onto that'll be interfacing with the radiator here. And I do have some 45 degrees and right angles if I need to once it's in the case. But for now, that's the plan. Thanks. Okay guys, still working on bench setting up the new Big Bang Xpower 2 kick-ass build here. And just for the bench top setup, I've got to cut some tubing to get the water cooling going, so that I can then fire up the motherboard and start getting some software loaded and some hardware installed. So what I'm doing here is just looking at a run between the reservoir, coming out of the reservoir into the radiator. So that looks like that's about right. I already did pre-cut some of these, so they should be. And coming out of the rad into the block, and that should be good. So we got that one going for us, and then the last one would be the return back out of the from out of the chip into the reservoir. So the CPU. So it looks like I got all the pieces set here. I'll put the quick disconnect appropriate fittings, the compression fittings on them, to mate up with the proper ends on the radiator and the CPU block and on the reservoir. And then next I should be looking at connecting up the power supply, putting in the shorting plug, and turning it on to bleed get the water loaded into the system, so I can start then truly firing up the motherboard, adding memory, adding the disk, adding the RAID controller. So that's coming up next. Thanks. Just in case you guys are considering using quick disconnects, compression fittings, probably if you've done water cooling before, it's no big deal, but just wanted to show you how to put one on. Whether it's the male or the female, you remove the compression collar and you slide that over your tubing, and you slide it back a good enough way, so you have like a ½ an inch or so, and then you push in. You'll see there's some raised sleeves on the inside that's milled into this piece of stainless steel. You slide that into your tubing, and then you push up your compression collar, and it's good if it's tight, because then it's even better, it's not going to leak. And then you get it lined up just right, and you should be able to see the threads on there, and you gotta slowly, or as best you can, start to engage those threads and tighten it on. And this can be a tough job, but you want to make sure they're on nice and tight so that you don't have any leakage at all. I do use PC Ice. It's a Primo Chill that is anti-conductive, but basically that means if it spills some drops on your motherboard, you shouldn't have a problem. Obviously, if you have a major leak, it's liquid, so it still can conduct eventually, but you don't have a pouring situation where your board is completely covered in liquid. And also, when you're first bleeding your system, you should always, well, I think you should use the power supply jumper method, so that your motherboard is not engaged with power. The motherboard is just holding the chip and the block, and all you're trying to do is make sure you have no leaks. So that should be a standard. I know there are some guys that you've been doing water cooling for a million years. Yeah, you're probably got enough experience that you're good. But anyway, here we go. Fittings are on, and this is the one that's going from the reservoir to the pump. So just in case you haven't seen how to put them on there. Alright, we have the loop run. So coming out of the back, going to the in on the radiator, coming out of the rad, going in to the CPU block, which is the center, and then coming out of the CPU block back into the reservoir. So we're about ready to put the shorting plug in and get some coolant out and start filling the loop and bleeding it so that we can bench test and start checking out the rest of the hardware for the Big Bang Xpower 2 kick-ass build. Alright, I have got the system set up, all the tubing now in place, and I'm going to begin filling the system and bleeding it so that I can start bench testing all the other pieces of the system. So I don't have the pump hooked up yet, and I guess one of the things I'm going to do right now is, before I start filling it, is just make sure power is good. I have over here the power supply jumper, and if you've not done it before, the key is you have to have a jumper that connects the green to any ground. So here's the green, and I actually have a little extension that I use just for this, and a ground cable. So you have them in those 2 points. It acts as if there's a motherboard in place, and that's powered, connected, and allows the power supply to run. So we'll give that, we're going to give that a shot now to make sure all of that is hooked up. Use my back. And what I should get is power, at least on the controller and on the fans. And I do have, and I have fans. So that works. Let's see. Alright, and now I'm going to get things set up for getting some fluid in the into here. So, okay, I've got the my funnel. I use Primo Chill PC Ice is what I've been using, and seems to be just fine. So what I'm doing right now is just getting some coolant into the side of the reservoir that I'm using, and I have the quick disconnects connected so that once I turn it on, I've got some coolant in the pump. Alright, so right now I'm just using some gravity to get fluid in, coolant in. Alright, still alright, we've got a, looks like it's just settling up there right now. I'm going to make sure this doesn't spill on anything. Now I'm connecting up the power to the power connector for the pump. I do have a pump for the other side, but I'm not using it because I'm not using that reservoir right now. That's going to be for the graphics card loop, which I don't have set up or anything yet. So right now we're going to start getting some fluid going, some coolant going inside of the loop. Let's see, we got power here. I don't hear the pump going. Let's turn it on again. There we go. I hear pump. Alright, we're going to get some more fluid situated, and we got some more coolant. I keep saying fluid. Alright, we have fluid, we have coolant making its way through the system right now. This is I can see the coal making its way into the CPU, and coming back yet, nothing leaking. And I have temps actually 20.6 on the coming out of the radiator. And then of course there's no power to the CPU, so there's no heat being applied, and there's 20.6, 20.5 coming out of, nope, exactly the same, 20.8 now coming into the right back into the reservoir. So I have a thermal sensor on the output of the radiator, and a thermal sensor on the input of the coming back into the reservoir. Oh, I see. The pump is also currently set on 1. I'm going to adjust it so that actually it is on, it's on 3 right now. The coolant pumps, this is the MCP 655 pump, and it's got a variable setting for the pump, and I just adjusted it to 3. I hear the pump going. And I can see that there's a lot of air still. Maybe if I lift up the reservoir higher than the system. And I'll also move the radiator around. I'm going to adjust the pump down further. Got it on 2 now. Yeah, I might speed this up since it's taking a little while to get things running. Get the coolant through the loop. It looks like, I can't believe that it's already saturated the loop. I still see a lot of air, so. Okay, got it bled. It probably took, to get all the little bubbles and stuff out of here, maybe it's taken maybe just under an hour. I've got the loop filled and it's running now, and it's running pretty quiet. The pump speed is set on 3, and that equates to an RPM of 3,600 RPM from that pump right now. And actually it'd be interesting to tweak it up and see when we go up to 5 how many RPM that is. Alright, now it's at 4,800, 4,830, almost 5,000 RPM on setting number 5. And could use a little more coolant. Got a lot of the air out. Alright. Let it go and settle for a while, and then cap it off, and then we'll start putting a video card on here. Oh, I got to put some memory, video, and connect the display up and fire it up. See what the BIOS looks like, and then we'll start putting some hard disks and things on here and testing it out. So the loop is filled and bled, and just gonna top it off here, and we'll start doing some more assembly, and then start configuring and testing the MSI Big Bang Xpower 2 motherboard in this new kick-ass build. Thanks, and I'll show you some more later.